Hello, and welcome to another episode of Toothless MMA Radio Series Quick Hitters. I'm your host, John Galloway, and today, as we look at the world of combat sports, I'll be joined by my guest, Micah Miller. Micah, John Galloway, Toothless MMA, how's it going today?
Pretty good, man. Just another nice day here in South Florida. Just, taking it a little easy about the train here a little later.
Nice. Now, you're going to be training a little bit later for your upcoming fight for Titan FC. You're going to be facing Bristol Maroon Day on August 22nd at Titan FC 29. Tell me about the fight.
I'm happy to be here in Titan. I'm glad that I'm going to be back on TV, on CBS Sports. It's, I think I do my best work on TV. So I'm pretty excited, and, I'm trying to settle into this new weight class, and, I'm looking forward to the fight.
Now, you mentioned coming back to TV. You've previously had some quick stints. You were on The Ultimate Fighter on the initial episode, season 14. You fought in the WC, had some televised fights to them. What's the difference between fighting for a televised audience as opposed to just a local show where only the people that are there are going to see it?
The difference is, even though you're not seeing the people that are actually gonna watch the fight. It's I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's just easier to get up for the fight more. It's easier to train. That exposure, really makes you want to put your best foot forward, in the fight. So it's for me personally, it makes a big difference.
Now, you've been training for a long time. You started obviously when you were younger in wrestling. How has that wrestling background helped you grow as a martial artist, especially as a mixed martial artist?
I think that with the wrestling, it wasn't so much the wrestling that I really learned, but it was more how to work hard. How to really, really grind and go in there, put 100% and push beyond where you really think that you can go. And like I said, I didn't really. I learned a little wrestling, but I think more than anything, it was about learning how to train hard and give your best, and kind of dealing with the anxiety of competition and competing against you versus another guy, and that's it. So I think it was if you're gonna do this and you're gonna fight, I think wrestling's a great base for anybody.
Now, that is your base, but you've rounded out, including your striking as well as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Are currently a purple belt, correct?
No, I'm a brown belt now.
Oh, nice! Congratulations. Now,
yeah.
When you get into the ring, when you get into the cage, and you look across on the guy, or you're preparing for a fight, how much does it play into the fact that you have now obviously your brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? How much does that play into the game plan when they are at a similar or higher level than you?
I think that you can be a brown belt in BJJ, but as far as how it plays into the fight, I think it all comes down to how well you can execute your ground game in a fight situation. There are guys that are pretty highly ranked in the ground game, but when it comes to the striking aspect and being able to punch on the ground and kind of the elements of a real fight, they don't do as well. And when I started ground fighting from day one, there were always punches involved. I didn't really have a traditional, I guess, upbringing in martial arts that way. Like, I did jiu-jitsu, I did boxing. I didn't separate really all these things. It was always, just kind of training them together for a fight. So for me personally, I think that, I'm always pretty comfortable in implementing my ground game, in an MMA fight. So
yeah, I think you're one of the newer generation where, unlike older guys, Tito Ortiz, the Ken Shamrocks, the older guys where they had one route, and they specialized there and then slowly branched out. I think you're part of this new generation where you're training MMA from day one, where it's everything and it's not just little bits here and there and trying to improve upon one aspect. You guys are training to be well-rounded fighters from the start. Now, with that, how does that affect how you might go into a fight against somebody who, like Bristol, has a stronger background in wrestling and wasn't so much an MMA student as he was little bits and pieces here and there?
Well, I think that when you're putting your game together, and you have all these tools that you've been working on from day one, I think it's a little bit easier to kind of see where your opponent might be a little weaker. So, but that's just something that you're going to have to feel in the fight. Once it comes. You can say that you're going to execute this game plan or that game plan, but once the lights are on and the tape's on the hands and competition day is there, you can't really say. But that's something that you really got to implement and fight, and you got to be able to think on your feet and be able to adjust, your game plan and find holes that maybe you wouldn't see on film or otherwise, and look to exploit those. So.
Now, have you had an opportunity to see any video of Bristol yet?
Yeah, I watched a couple videos, but I normally don't study a ton of film. I leave a lot of the film work to my coaches, but when I do look at film, it's mainly just to see their height, what they look like, what lead they fight with, right-handed, left-handed, that kind of stuff. I don't really look a whole lot at their skill set or anything, so I leave all of that to my coaches.
All right, now without giving away your game plan, without giving away what your coaches have said, what are areas moving forward into the training camps where you think that you have an advantage?
I think that if you look at the fight and kind of the way that me and my coaches are looking at things, I'm going to have to change some of my stand-up approach, because coming up in weight class, I normally fought at 145 for most of my career, and I'm coming up in weight at 170, and it's a lot different because there was always such a huge reach advantage fighting the guys at featherweight, and that's kind of how they would coach me to play the game, like using a lot of the reach and things like that. But with Bristol, we're about the same height, so I think a lot of the things that I used to do, I'm going to have to change my stand-up game. But as far as the ground game goes, I'm always going to be looking to, if it goes to the floor, I'm always going to be looking to attack the submission and finish the fight. I have a very high finish rate, and that's never going to change.
Now, going from 145 to 170 is a big jump. What did you normally walk around at?
145, I would walk around about low 70s. So I was always a pretty big guy, and when I started getting bigger and looking to fill out my frame a little more, move up in weight, I put size on pretty quick, because I'd never really lifted weights before. All I had to do, I made some deadlifts a part of my camp for my training, but other than that, I never really lifted weights. So once I did, I think my body responded pretty quickly, and I started to put size on. And eventually, I was like, I was getting too big for lightweight, and I didn't want to stop. So I wanted to keep filling out my frame because I felt really good, and that's kind of what I'm still doing. I'm still looking to fill out my frame a little more, and eventually, settle in the weight class, because I didn't want to just move up one and then eventually move another. I think I'll eventually retire at 170, so I figured I might as well just get comfortable there as soon as possible.
So you did this the right way. You did your strength and conditioning, you put on muscle, Not just that you went to McDonald's every day this week.
Right. I mean, McDonald's isn't a part of the diet. You know, whether I'm in camp or out of camp. But yeah, I'm trying to do this the right way, and I'm not going to be taking steroids or anything like that.
No, obviously.
That's why the progress is going to be a little slower. But you say obviously, but it's not so obvious in this sport. You know, the way things are. You know, people are taking stuff all over the place, but I'm trying to do this naturally, and I'm a good supplement company behind me, Garden Alliance, that really helps me out and hooks me up, and trying to do things the right way. So, progress slow but steady.
That's it. That's the way to do it. Now, I gotta ask you, having your older brother be who he is, having some success in the UFC, having a fight career of his own, is that something that you guys talk about, that you trade information back and forth and advice, or is that something where you say, you know what, that's your thing and this is my thing, and we just leave it to the side?
No, we're for sure a team. We train together, and he helps me out a lot. Coaching wise, and we've both been studying this game so long that I think we value each other's opinions on on martial arts and different things, whether it be game planning fights or techniques or whatever. So when it comes to me and him and our relationship, I guess as fighters, we're always looking to, whether it be training or game planning, whatever. It's we value each other's opinion, so it's definitely it definitely helps, I guess, compared to just somebody that might be doing this all by themselves. So it's kind of hard to imagine, going at this by yourself without a brother that does this,
Absolutely.
For me.
Now, how are things down at American Top Team? How's the training camp going there?
Oh, it's great, man. It's been, I think, maybe 7 years I've been here, but I don't think a day goes by where I walk in the gym and I look around at the walls and see all the history and the heritage and the great fighters that have trained there in the past and the present, and some of the guys coming up in the future. I'm lucky to be here, and whenever I walk into the doors, man, I kind of just look around and just kind of think to myself, and it gives me a little more motivation to give my best, and whatever martial art I might be training that day. So, American Top Team's home. It's always going to be home, and I couldn't be more proud to represent them.
Now, when you have a fight camp going on, when you have a fight coming up, do some of the top guys in the gym come down and help you? Do they do they work out with you to build you up, or are you on your own separately, working with your own group? How does it work down there?
Well, I mean, it all depends on what these guys got coming up on their own. The way our team operates, the way we got guys scheduled all the time. It's like if we have training schedules and guys got fights, everybody's going to show up, and you're going to get paired up with guys that are going to be more beneficial for maybe your current fighting style or your opponent's fighting style, or
right.
Maybe their body dimensions. All the coaches here kind of have that locked down to where they can specialize it. That everybody's going to get the most benefit from the training. But yeah, all the top guys, train together. So, you really learn a lot from not only the coaches, but a lot of the great fighters here. So, it's like I said before, man, I'm really lucky.
Yeah, what's that saying? Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
So now, give me your prediction coming up into the fight. What do you see happening here with you and Bristol?
Man, I can't predict a fight. The fight is the most unpredictable thing in the world. But I do know that I'm going to come in there motivated, and I'm going to come in there excited. I'm going to come there with a great team behind me, and I'm going to come in there looking for a finish. And like I said before, I have a high finish percentage. I always look for the finish. My brother always looks for the finish. That's how you fight. You know, a decision is never going to be a celebrated performance. You know, I think as a martial artist, you got to give it your all to go in there and try to put the other fighter away. And you know, that's what's going to happen on August 22nd. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to look to finish this guy.
Nice. Now, you mentioned, you know, you're going to be going in there with a good team of support behind you. Who are some of the sponsors that are helping support you along the way here?
Well, obviously my main team, American Top Team. I got my jiu-jitsu coach Marco Stamata and my Thai boxing coach Katel Gubis, and my brother obviously helps me out a lot. I got my conditioning team, IHP, and JC and the guys. They always help me get ready for fights, but they've especially been helping me try and put size on and do it the right way. And I also got Garden of Life behind me. They're my supplement sponsor. I couldn't be more proud to have a company that, you know, their ingredients and the stuff they use, they're all, you know, the highest quality, and, you know, it fits right in line with kind of my philosophy on diet and eating and stuff like that. So these are the guys that are going to be behind me, and, you know, I have a great team, so I expect nothing but the best kind of performance out of myself.
Now, you had mentioned, and just for our listeners, the fight is going to be August 22nd. It's going to be on CBS Sports Network. If they can't find it, or for some reason they're out and they can't make the fight, where can they follow you on social media? That way they can keep up with the results and also see what else is coming up in your future.
Yeah, I got my Twitter handle is it's not a common one. It's Mavy McMav. It's MAVYMCMAVMAV, and that's my handle on Twitter. I have a Facebook fan page. I think it's pretty easy to find if you just want to Google it. You can follow me on Instagram, same handle, Mavy McMav. And you know, I haven't been as active on there as I have in the past, but you know, I'm trying to work on that and hopefully trying to keep that a little more updated. But Nick Diaz actually kind of admonished me yesterday for not being active, so I'm gonna have to take it. You know, have to take his orders and be a little more active on there. But there's spots you can find me.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up another episode of Toothless MMA Radio Series Quick Hitters. I'd like to extend a big thank you to today's guests for joining me. For Micah Miller, this is John Galloway, and we are tapping out.